Hey, hey, hey!
Hello. It was going off again. We got Lewis in the building. Straight away, he's back on with us. Welcome one and all again to the instant calling. This is the time where you've listened to me, you've listened to him for the last hour of the game. It's your chance to have your say. So straight away, then let's get Lewis on board. Hello, Lewis.
Hi.
Yeah, go on then, mate. Are you going to blame the referee again?
Yes and no.
Okay.
I
Well,
thought the second penalty was a penalty because there was a slight touch on the knee.
well, if you looked at the replay, there was nowhere near him, mate. From one camera angle, it did look like it.
The knee made the knee made contact, but that was after he was well into his dive.
Yeah, fair enough. But you know what I mean? It's like some of the decisions today. You go, my God, Craig Poulsen should never referee a Premier League game.
Yeah, I must admit, I think the officiating today was very, very poor.
I know we're talking about the Brighton game, but the Ipswich game, my God.
Yeah, you're not very likable to referees, though, are you? You see the referees as just being red cards.
No, but to be fair, fair enough. Obviously, I have to work for the foundation. That's fair enough.
Yeah, exactly. So, what did you think of the game, mate? Overall,
boring.
Yeah, not great, was it?
No, I thought, oh God, at least I got at least I got to 9 o'clock to wait tonight to watch the Grand Prix. That'd be more interesting than this.
Yeah, absolutely. It was. I mean, to be fair, it was a difficult first half. We started off okay. I mean, it wasn't brilliant, but again, it was that final third that we were really struggling with. But as the half went on, it looked desperate at times.
Yes, we were just passing. We didn't know where we were. We looked like the season's been finished for us.
Yeah, we're talking about other teams having the flip flops on. It looked like we got our flip flops on today. So come on, then, where do you think it went wrong?
From when Minter scored for them.
Do you think he had a good game today?
Yeah, I did applaud him because he didn't celebrate.
No, he didn't celebrate, but I think he was getting some stick.
I think he did celebrate.
Not like stupidly. Like some players go like that to win the score.
Well, he was telling the Newcastle fans in no certain terms where he was now.
Yeah, but at least he didn't celebrate over the top, if that makes sense.
Yeah, listen, I think good on him. He's entitled to.
Yeah, he plays for a blue and white, not a black and white shirt now.
Yeah.
So I have no issues of players celebrating, if I'm honest. Some interesting, obviously, remarks in the chat during the game, blaming individuals. Was there a weakness of a player in the squad that you saw that you thought we could have done better if somebody else was playing?
I would have tried, when obviously Callum Wilson did have an attempt on target that he scored, but I would have brought Asula on.
Well, yeah, you're talking the last 10 minutes there. We had to,
I know.
Let's talk about what went on before then.
Bruno didn't have a best game today either.
No, Bruno was, for me, probably the worst performer on the pitch.
Yeah, but then obviously Murphy as well. He didn't have a great game either.
Well, again, in the first half, he got into some good positions, put two brilliant, what I thought were very good balls into the box.
Bruno was there to take it over, to score.
But I tell you what I found it puzzling was we did so well going down the left hand, predominantly right hand side against who was the last game? Time and time again, keep getting it wrong. But this time everything was going down the left.
Yeah.
And not so good. Wait a minute.
And he's struggling.
He cannot hear us. Oh,
yeah, he's struggling again.
Yeah. So after the first kind of probably 10 minutes, when we got a little bit of success down the left and down the right and the left, because also it was in the 8th minute when lovely passing ball that Murphy put that ball in, having got started in the first couple of minutes with Barnes getting that ball in, and it was looking great then. The first 10 minutes was looking fantastic.
Yeah, we looked okay, but that's the thing. We looked okay today. We didn't look at the races.
Well, I'm not going to argue with you because it was poor.
It was poor.
A quick question to ask as well. Do you think that Brighton player should have been sent off?
For what?
Because he got booked, and then he did another challenge. I thought that was a red card challenge because he slided and went down the back of the ankle. Is that not a red card? Dangerous foul play.
Well, I said that to him during the game. When Weiser come, his foot's off the floor, and the only thing for me that got him out of jail a little bit, he did try and put his foot down, but by the time he'd put his foot down, he was in contact with Tonali. So you have to ask the question: are you in control of your slide? And to me, as he's off the ground, he's not in control of the slide. So I wouldn't disagree with it. I certainly didn't think it would have been a harsh. I've seen cards given for a lot less, put it that way.
Like the one.
Did he actually get carded for that?
No. He
didn't get nothing.
He got nothing.
He got sub straight after.
Yeah, that's the thing.
Yeah, but he had a yellow. I'm trying to work out when he got the yellow.
You got like 5-10 minutes before that challenge.
When did he get the yellow? Let's see if I can find that out.
I can have a look on here, mate.
Hang on, I'm looking at it as well.
Yeah, you can see.
He got booked in the 32nd minute.
He did, yeah, 32nd, and he got subbed on the 54th, literally straight after the challenge. I mean, it was a red in its own. If I'm honest with you,
it's a
you know what I mean. It's a red card in itself. It should never have even been looked at. I mean, that's what I said. The referee today had an absolute. I will honestly say, I thought the referee was out of control today. I didn't think he controlled the ball. Didn't think they controlled the game at all.
Newcastle, the referee. We hear it all the time. Newcastle's performance today had nothing to do with the referee.
No, it didn't. It didn't.
We're not arguing with that. We're just saying Craig put. That's the thing.
As you summed up beautifully at half time when you put the tactic board up, we were ending up with 3 players. This is when we are attacking in their half. We had 3 players on the right hand side, 3 players on the left hand side, and Isaac ploughing alone for in the middle, where he had 2 defenders and a defensive midfielder to contend with, which obviously isn't the best situation for a centre forward to be in. And why? If we're attacking on the left, fine. But 2 of those players there on the right, be it Bruno or Murphy, obviously not Trips, but Bruno or Murphy have to come in and back up Isaac just to take players away from him.
Yeah.
And it wasn't happening. They were just staying in those positions. So we're playing, it's kind of, I don't know what it was, 2-1-7.
Yeah,
formation with 3 on each wing and 1 in the middle, and a massive void of Newcastle players in the channels.
Yeah, I think it was definitely a tactic that he wanted to go with. It certainly didn't seem to me as if a lot of the players had the fully had the understanding of what was required of them in that role. Because, like I said, what you got was an overload either left or right, but then you lost players through the middle, going centrally into the box. So there was very few players that you could aim at. So it was very, very bitty for me. I just wanted to see a little bit more, and I don't understand, if I'm honest with you, when it's not working. We went more of a standard 3 in the second half. and we seemed a little bit more comfortable. But you know, to me, we just after I think it was something like was it 20 odd shots on target, something like that. I saw.
Let's have a look.
Some crazy
13 shots were hard
on target.
We certainly didn't have 21 shots on target.
No, well, I saw.
We had 5 shots on target.
We only had 5 shots on target after 13 total shots. Yeah,
keeper made 4 saved.
Yeah, and that's what I said. You know, when you think, you know, you're not dominating, playing as poorly as we did. You know, they only had 5 shots and 2 on target. You know, they're at home, and I think that just sums up how poor they've been. Again, Minte caused us no end of trouble.
All it does do is when you think about it. Yes, Peter in the building.
Right, lads.
You right, Peter?
What's your thoughts, Peter?
I have to calm down, mate. So I'm not so emotional. I have to keep my emotions in check. I don't want to rant, you know.
You can. That's what it's for.
Rant.
It's out in cyberspace once you do that. But no, I was fuming, like, to be honest, watching it. I couldn't watch it. I couldn't. I was, honestly, I thought it was. I mean, what I will say before I sort of like talk about Newcastle, like Brighton, right? For me, I don't know if you have picked up on this, but for me, I think they treat this as like, definitely the fans seem to treat this as like their derby match.
Yeah.
You heard some of the anti-northern chants from the stands.
From the stands. No.
Yeah, they don't like us. So, you know, it's their World Cup final by the looks of things. So, yeah, I think we could maybe do with warning the players of that before. I don't know if I'd imagine they wouldn't be told that before, the Newcastle players, but maybe you could say to them, look, when you go out there, this lot seem desperate. They will be desperate to beat you because it's their fucking cup final. Do you know what I mean? So like, just be on your toes, be on guard for that. No stupid, no sloppy passes. Don't give them an inch. You know what I mean? And that's what we were doing. I thought Newcastle were like so sloppy, that especially first half. I honestly, I was tearing my hair out. Like short passes going too short. You know, like 2 yards off. Just sloppy play all around, and even second half, I just didn't think they looked like scoring. I know they've done better, but I'm just relieved that they got out of there with a point, because you'll take that and then just move on. Yeah.
Would you settle for a point at the start?
I think I would have, given the fact that Brighton away it's always been so difficult, especially lately. Yeah, I would have took that before. I was just like, but the way we've got the point was like stressful, you know.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, it
was hard to watch, mate, wasn't it? That's what I said. Yeah. It was. He never. I'll be honest with you. I never thought I could never see us scoring. I don't think we had, you know, as much pressure we were putting them under. It seemed as if we only actually started to wake up in the last 9 minutes of the game in extra time. Yeah. It seemed as though, like, then all of a sudden it became a bit of a game, a bit of a want. And again, you watched the game. Did you see anything tactically that didn't work the way it should have worked? To me, there was a couple of changes in the positional sense. I agreed with the Willock one, because I think sometimes you need Willock to be involved in the game, and I thought there was a couple of good runs from Willock. But it's that final decision making, isn't it? Again, that to me just get so annoyed. Why try and make it hard rather than there was a simple opportunity, go begging?
Yeah, it is. It's little things like that where, for example, there could be like a pass on, like an obvious pass, and they'll take a touch, and then they'll pass it, and the momentum's gone. Or it could be that, you know, like I say, that the pass hasn't got quite enough weight on it, and it'll get intercepted. Like simple things. I didn't really pick up too much tactically that I could see was a disaster or anything. I just felt watching it that the application was off, and I mean, Bruno again, like, he gets wound up. He's giving away fouls unnecessarily. Like, things like that were letting us down, I thought. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with you. I mean, for me, I think Bruno was getting wound up though because of the tactics that were employed by Eddie. That's
Right.
how I looked at it. I think Bruno is a player that needs to be involved. He wants the ball. Tonali was far too deep at times. He went into the three at the back, which allowed obviously both full backs to get forward. I understand that. Tino was more central today, allowing Willock to play that role. So Tino then goes and plays as a centre midfield in six. Tino's not that player.
Is that right? I thought he was.
Yeah, Tino's just not that type of ball player. You know, and I think for me there was far too many changes for the lads to feel and look comfortable. Even though I honestly believe on our day, what we've just witnessed there, 90 minutes, we could have put 5, 6 or 7 past Brighton because Brighton were dog awful. They weren't a good side whatsoever. We have let them off with 2 points dropped there rather than a point gained. They should not have got a point out of this game. But it was the application of Eddie Howe's tactic on the day. I think one confused us. I mean, don't get me wrong. You know, I think for me, you mentioned it. I thought Trippier had a good game. I thought Harvey Barnes had a good game. Decent game. None of them were outstanding, but they stood the ground. They did the job. I thought Harvey Barnes looked even sharp when he went to the right-hand side. That's how much space Brighton would allowing you to get in and behind. And that happened for 90 minutes. For me, it was when we got behind, how we deployed the ball. And it was like a case of, it was, you know, do I take another touch? I'll take another touch. And by that time, you know, for me, their man of the match was Belieber. I thought he was our Tonali. You know, for Brighton, I thought he covered that much grass and covered their back four so well, being a central defender, central midfielder. You can understand why Herzl put him in defence last week when they were down players, because he just puts his body on the line for them.
Yeah.
But for me, losing Willock onto the left-hand side and losing Bruno over to the right-hand side, I thought we'd come a little bit disjointed in the middle. And you could see the tactic that Herzl had put in for Verbruggen to literally pinpoint. It was as if he was passing to Dan Burn all the time. Dan Burn would head it back, but because of our setup with our lads being wide, they were picking the second ball up every time, or they were, you know, they were challenging for that second ball a lot more comfortable for me. I think I really do think that you know, the one thing for me wasn't the fact that we didn't play well. We know that, but even when we didn't play well, the amount of opportunities that the lads created, they should have buried Brighton today.
I think I know what you mean. I reckon. I think with Brighton, I still think they were. Do you not think they were up for it? Like they were tracking back. They might not. On a second half, they dropped off. But
they're absolutely up for it because they are trying to get that 8th spot.
Yeah,
they've still got fighting for something, haven't they?
Yeah, they didn't give us an inch. I didn't think, and obviously their fans were loving it, and so fair enough. But like I say, I think they do have this thing with Newcastle. But anyway, but yeah, I think like.
Do you think the lads also are struggling? You know, we say about this voodoo at the Amex. Yeah, we haven't won there in 10 years, and it does. You know, it does have a little bit of a thing. You know, there is for me. Sometimes you can look awkward when you try too hard. Do you think they tried too hard to get the result today and try and break that voodoo? Because to me, it was like a hot potato. The ball was like a hot potato. It didn't feel as though there was any fluidity to the ball, like I said, there was something about today's game that mentally upset the boys. Now, whether that's that tactic of Eddie Howe, moving the midfielders out to overload the wing, or it's just Brighton. And like I said, Brighton to me played as if they'd already won the game without kicking a ball. They were, you know, they were a little bit more relaxed on the ball. Minte was causing us no end of trouble. I mean, for me, man of the match.
Man of the match, absolutely.
Yeah, Minte was man of the match for me. I think he's, and again, he seems to really set it on fire when he plays against Newcastle.
Point to prove.
Yeah, absolutely.
I understand that totally.
Which I think, by the way, is an undeserved, for want of a better expression, point to prove, because we didn't get rid of Minty because we wanted to. We got rid of him because PSR,
exactly,
being the daft regime that it is, forced us to.
Yeah. Just on what you said before as well, Gary, with regards to the performance of Newcastle and going to Brighton and having this sort of hoodoo. For me, this match reminded me a little bit of the recent match against Villa, where I just feel like sometimes they go away to these grounds where it's away from home, the stadium is up for it, whether it's Villa or Brighton, and Newcastle seemed a bit surprised, which I know sounds weird, but they did. They seemed surprised Brighton were up for it, and it seemed to rattle them, and that's where, for me, what you do is you kind of play a bit no nonsense. So you adjust to that, and you don't dilly dally playing five-a-side football between your centre halves and your fullback. Do you know what I mean? Your fullbacks. Like, you have to then. I know people say let's play our way. Let's play every game the same. Let's attack. I just think sometimes, like, away from home, at least in the first half, you got to like make it difficult for the home team. Frustrate them. It might not be glamorous, but play those percentage balls sometimes a bit more often than what we would try to play, like this, again, this sort of like tick-tack a little bit, and
Pitbull
playing into their hands really, and that gets their crowd up for it, and they nick the ball, they get the tackles in, we pass the ball out and out into touch, and little things like that add up, and that creates that momentum on their side, and then suddenly we're rattled. That's the impression I got.
Yeah, it was definitely a strange one, if I'm honest, to see how it was going at the time. I mean, I've just been having a quick look at the pass maps. I don't know whether I can show it on here because I don't think I've got a share screen on here. Let's have a look at that one.
No, just go to dynamic.
No, I can go to dynamic and then I can put it up on there. If you was to have a look at this pass map of Brighton, let's just get it into focus before I move it onto the screen. This is Brighton's pass map, and as you can see, quite balanced either side. But if you look at Newcastle, and this is what I was saying about when teams, when you play a system. This is Newcastle's. You look at this width that they're giving, the gap between Bruno and Tonali here, and Tino. Harvey Barnes is our furthest forward player according to the pass map, and you can see what they're trying to achieve with the three here. Look, being in with these three here, but it allowed far too much space for me in these zones, and I honestly think that was our problem today. There was far too much concentration on the width, both left and right. And like I say, for me, Jacob Murphy was out of the game most of the time, considering that the emphasis was to play in and behind. There's a couple of times when he got behind, but didn't pick out the right pass. But that to me was the way we go. And if you have a look at this is Brighton, just going long all the time, from Verbruggen out to Minte, who again was obviously the shadow alongside Welbeck. He was Welbeck's legs today, I think. But it was certainly something that I thought was an interesting one for us when you look at the lines, the passing lanes from both teams. It just wasn't there at all. So again, I think it was a tweak from Eddie Howe that just didn't work on the day, and like we hear him say week in, week out in training and in his presses, where he'll play a tactic against the next opponent. He'll never keep it the same. And I think sometimes that can just cause confusion, and that's what it looked like to me today.
And should he not have realised that.
Well, he did, because he changed it in the second half. We went more normal 2-3 through the middle.
Do you think we did?
Yeah, Bruno became, even though there was times, Bruno does that. He moves over to the right-hand side to support anyway. But Bruno was more of a central figure in the second half. It's again, winning that second ball. We knew that Verbruggen was always going to try and look to get the two wingers in, whoever was playing. Even when they changed it up and Lamptey came on, they were still throwing balls up into those corner channels. They went from right side to left-hand side. When Minte went over towards Trippier. And it was a case of, again, for me, he was the thorn in the side. He was the one that was going to get in and behind, if anybody was. And again, a little bit of skill from Minte, drops the shoulder, takes out Tino, drops the shoulder again, takes out Tonali, and he plays it into the corner of the net. That was really their only real good, clear opportunity. Now, for the team at home, vying for a chance of Europe, that ain't a great side to face. So for me, like the second half, you could see that there was a slight change. He did centralise Bruno a little bit more. Willock still played the same. Willock still was playing that channel ball and running on the inside left position. But again, to me, is it Willock's last game? Because to me, it potentially could be.
I don't think Willock has done anywhere near enough to justify starting the next game. There you go. As far as I'm concerned, Maley should be in.
Do you just move Bruno across?
Yeah, and move Bruno. Or change it completely and go 4-2-4. And put, which is what we ended up
doing. Yeah, exactly.
And which got with a goal.
Yeah. I see. I would consider doing something as drastic as that, and just taking. We look better.
And by the way, if I was to go 4-2-4, and you know how much I love Callum Wilson. But it wouldn't be Callum Wilson that I'd be putting in. It would be Asula.
Yeah, I see. I'd be a little bit. I understand where you're coming from, but for me, it would be Anthony Gordon coming in for me.
Yeah. I'm talking about Gordon, Barnes, Isaac, Asula.
Yeah, but see, I wouldn't drop Murphy, because Murphy does the dog work that very few others will do for you. As in going back into a 5 if you need it at the back, you'll drop into the 4 in midfield. And if you're playing too high, for me, the one thing that I would like to see, it's like, again, Anthony Gordon seems to be getting his running legs back, but I don't know whether he's got his head back, because there was a couple of opportunities today that he took the wrong decision rather than the right. He made the hard decision, and sometimes you've just got to play football simple. And again, I would like to see us play the same, but I'd keep Murphy in there and just drop Harvey Barnes into that 10 role, or give him a free role where he can go left to right across the front three, if you like, and drop into midfield centrally, and then you'd have Bruno, Barnes, and Tonali played as a 3, and then Barnes then just drops into that half space when we're on the offensive. I think that would work absolutely perfectly well. But again, we've got some big games coming up now, really big games.
Yeah.
Come on, everybody in the chat. You're all spouting in the chat. Get on here and have your say.
The good thing is that the next match is home, St James's. I just feel like Newcastle away, when we, don't get us wrong, I mean, there's some amazing games away from home as well this season, but we're more likely to struggle. Obviously, I know it sounds obvious, but away from home, I just think we're kind of like, we're not often well equipped to deal with away from home. If the home side are up for it, if they're at it, we tend to crumble. Whereas
Chelsea won up against Liverpool.
Yeah. Yeah. I knew it was going to happen.
Well, that's this point we've got today could be so vital.
Oh,
I
it
mean,
could be. Yeah.
as bad as we've played today, hats off for grinding out a draw somehow. However, they've done
Yeah,
it
yeah.
somehow, and it was
Well,
definitely.
I said before a ball was kicked today, if we won today, regardless how we played, if we won today, I'd be a happy bunny. Because then, even if Chelsea do miraculously beat Liverpool, a draw still against them is a good result.
Mm-hmm.
If Liverpool beat them, it draws an even better result. But right now, they are level with us on points.
Yeah.
As it stands, and
We've got much better goal difference though.
well, we haven't got a much better goal. We've only got
2-3,
one goal now.
Is it?
Yeah, it's
Right.
only one goal now.
More than that. Right.
I mean, it was a good goal, if I'm honest with you, from Chelsea, from Enciso. The first touch fell beautifully for him, and he just had to put it in the back of the net, to be fair.
I mean, if we were playing Chelsea away, then I'd be worried. But at home, yes, it's a massive game. They could win it, we could win it, but I just feel a lot more confident playing them at St James's. I think you want to play those teams around you because you can take points off them, and as well as getting points yourself. So I think it's.
Well,
it's
I'll be honest. When I did a running spreadsheet with 11 games to go for that was us, Liverpool, Arsenal, Chelsea, City, Forest, Bournemouth, Villa, and Fulham. And right now we are 4 points better off that because I didn't give us a point. I said we'd get beat away at Brighton because I gave us 3 points whenever we played a team in the bottom 10. 3 points playing a mid-7 team at home and no points playing a mid-7 team away. And no points playing any team in the top 3, which when I started the spreadsheet was Forest, Liverpool, Arsenal. And on that basis, we would have ended the season on 65 points. That, progress now puts us on 69 because we beat Forest and we've now got a draw against Brighton, which I'd predicted us to get no points from. So we are 4 points ahead of schedule. And everybody else is pretty much where I had them, apart from Forest, who've lost quite a few, but that they were in such a strong position at the time that they've actually dropped 17 points, but still end up on 72, which is 3 points more than we'll end up on if everything goes according to plan. And if that is what happens right now, we end up in 5th position.
Right.
So, looking at the table now, if we beat Chelsea and Everton at home, we end up on 69 points. Forest have got to win all their games to better 69, and we've got the better goal difference. They can only get 69. Oh, beg your pardon,
No, say the card is 12.
Because they play
Monday.
Yeah, who they playing on Monday again? Yeah, me. Let's have a quick look at the run-in.
I'm not sure.
On Monday, Forest are playing Palace away.
Palace, you've got to say it's Palace, isn't it?
Palace away, not an easy game. In the spreadsheet, I've got them getting 3 points there because at the time they were top 3 and get 3 points for every game. But are they going to get 3 points at Palace the way they're playing lately?
It's a tough fixture.
Yeah, it is a tough fixture.
But I think it'll go to the wire. I think it'll.
I do. I think it'll go down to Everton. I do. I've said that.
And here's the kicker. I think it'll go down to Everton as well. And Everton are a bit of a
Brighton.
Oh, they're good.
thorn in our
Under
side,
boys.
aren't they?
They're good. They're organised. I think. I haven't seen them that much, to be fair. I'm saying all this, but like just from afar, seeing how they've went since Moyes went in, he's obviously got them organised, and
Yeah.
he seems he seems suited to Everton. He knows the club. He
And
knows the fans.
as Waldo was saying in the chat, this 12 o'clock kickoff against Chelsea for me, that's a massive minus. Me and Chris had an argument about this. He doesn't understand what 3 hours of drinking in a Geordie belly does for the crowd. And that 12 o'clock kickoff is massive for me.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be, well, like I say, you can imagine the atmosphere, can't you? If they get the result against Liverpool today, then it's like a 6-pointer, as daft as it looks.
Oh,
it really is a
absolutely
6-pointer.
Absolutely.
And that's the thing now. It's like every game, you know, you come away from these games. I know, you know, you said before, Win, where after the final, you know, game is done, you'll look back at individual games and say, we could have been better there, we could have been better there. But over the season, you finish where you deserve. You know, it's not about you taking your chances or you've been excellent through the season. Newcastle haven't been that way this season. They have been fits and starts. But again, you know, you've got to look at the records.
Fits and starts in 20 out of 26.
26, yeah, exactly.
27
you know.
now.
And we're not a drawing side. You know, this is a rarity for us. This is something that we don't do very often these days. So, you know, it feels like a loss though to me. I know it sounds crazy. We've been and got a point away from home, but it feels like a loss.
But it kind of does in terms of the performance. But for me, it's just pure relief because that could be a massive point. You know,
well, you've got to be, you've got to be a glass half full at this point of the season, haven't you? You know what I mean?
If that had been a loss, I would have been like, I would have had my doubts then about going forwards, the pressure they would have been under. Yes, it's still tight, and yes, it'll still go down, no doubt, to the last game, I think, in my opinion. But I just think that'll give them, they'll take solace from that they've played like that and they've got away with a point. It's one of those things where you come away from it, you think, does that mean it's like this is our year to like just get that, achieve the goals that you want to achieve, because the good teams get points when they play badly as well as when they play well.
Exactly. So, that's what I said. It's a good point, isn't it? Because we haven't played good. So you have to stay positive. As I can't remember, somebody said in the chats, you know, it's a point away from home. It's not. We haven't lost anything, you know. And the lads
took it beforehand as well.
Well, that's what everybody was saying. You know, give me a point now and I'd take it. And I was saying, no. When you look at our last 3 games, this has got to be a 3-pointer, you know. But having played so badly and you get something out of the game, sometimes you go, we've been lucky today. And I think we have been lucky today because I couldn't see us scoring at all. And like I say, you know, you get the penalty. You know, 1 from 3, I suppose, isn't bad. As the was it 2 from 3 was the record, wasn't it? There's nobody else willing to come on and give us their version of the game. So I suppose it's going to be a bit of a short one tonight.
I'm just gonna put these scores into
the hat, and you can do your prediction
league.
Yeah.
1.
Copy and paste.
Yeah. That's it.
Yeah, but I mean, it's really, like you said, it's really tough now to look at. You know, we could have closed the gap a little bit more on Arsenal. You know, dodgy result for them against Bournemouth. Great result for Bournemouth, to be fair. Yeah. Man City look really accomplished again now. You know, not lost in 6, with only a draw in there for all the rest of wins. Chelsea, they look, you know, very hit and miss. You don't really know what Chelsea are going to turn up. Very similar to Newcastle, you know, Chelsea at the minute. Chelsea seem to perform against bigger sides and really struggle against weaker sides. We all know Aston Villa are there. Forest and May, I think, have turned a corner. I think that could slip away from them. and it's a shame. But I mean, we know we can't finish any less than a 7th position now. But if we finish 7th after being in control, if you like, of your own destiny, that would feel like, even though we've won a cup, it's been a sad year after
I
the
think once the dust
performances.
settles, you would say, like you say, like Gary, we won the cup.
If you'd said at the start of the season, win a cup and qualify for the Europa,
Yeah,
would you have taken it?
I think I would have, and that's why I think people would then appreciate that once the dust settles, if that was to happen. But initially, when
But
you
it's a
finish the
bit like
season,
the situation Forest are in now, isn't it?
yeah, you'd be
If you'd said
devastated.
to Forest at the start of the season, you're going to finish in Europe, would they taken it? Yeah, damn right they would have took it. They would have bit your hand off.
Yeah,
But when they were in the situation of FA Cup semi-final, 3rd comfortably in the league, would they take it? Expectations rise,
Yeah,
inevitably.
that's it.
Aye.
That's it, isn't it? I mean, like I said, it's the expectations now. Where we are, like I say, your destination's in your own hands. You don't want to see it fail, do you?
No.
We want to be knocking on the door of the top 3 season in, season out, and I think that just shakes up everybody else around you. And if you haven't seen it yet, there is a really good video on The Athletic about the big 6 and the top 6, how it's changed now. And like they look at the big 6 as the financial gurus rather than the top 6 who seem to be knocking on the door now. And we're talking about ourselves, Newcastle, Forest, and obviously this season Villa. Yeah.
But you say you've got Bournemouth and Brighton coming into the conversation as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying.
Even Palace and Brentford, if they could hang on to their players, which I don't think they're going to be able to do, to be fair, never have been able to. So it's interesting to see what happens there. Let's have a quick look at the
prediction league.
Well, we can do that as well. But in the chat we've got James Cuff saying take the point all day long. Okay performance given our record at the Amex and how they've had our number this season. Goal difference like an extra point, which I'm saying it's not, because we lost a few games that...
We got hammered a few games, didn't we?
Yeah. We need a Scouse win. Well, that ain't happening right now, but there's time for that to change.
Yeah, but I think what he's saying is, I mean, there's only Chelsea that's got the goal difference. Like you say, one goal,
There's
but
only one
Forest, miles away, and so are Villa. So, like I say,
I had to say, if someone asked me who's likely to drop out, if we're going to hope, obviously Newcastle get top 5, I think Chelsea and Forest are the 2 most likely, personally, to not get Champions League. I think if I'm being optimistic about Newcastle being in there, I think it would be Newcastle, City, and Villa. To me, they look like the best 3. If we're gonna play well as well and be up there, then I think Villa and City. I always thought City would go on a run. Months ago, I thought they would. They'd turn it on when they need to. They've got so much experience.
Yeah, and they've got some depth of squad, haven't they? They've got some players on there that can change the game, and I think that's something that we haven't had for a while.
There you go, top of the league, Chris and Gary on 92.
Neck and neck, whoa.
Neck and neck. Antagonising Geordie 86, Queenie 83, Helzazar 83, Geordie Toon for Life 83, Jamie getting up there with his 5 points.
Oh, yeah, Jamie's moving.
Ian Fleming getting back up into the top 10. On 81, Harry Austin 80. Foxy is on 80 as well. Me and Elias Tobias on 78. Oh, sorry, Mighty Mark and Mighty Win on 77 with Ben. Amrit 76, Roy 75, DX 74, Jonathan Shaw 73, Rock the Tune and Strasbourg Steve on 72. Niall Powell 71, who didn't get a score in today. Ronald Turnbull 70. Key 88 69, along with Andy, who got his 5 points today. Well done, Andy. Pierre Viken, who's plummeted because he hasn't been putting any predictions in for the last 6 or 7 weeks, on 64. And then Josh 59, Ulfa 52, PDK 45, but PDK was late to the party, and then the rest.
Cool. There is an interesting question from Tony. Anyone worried about Isak's form? My brother has his foil hat on. Thinks he's doing it on purpose so we don't get Champions League so he can leave.
Come on, man. Can't be serious, can you?
You cannot be serious.
Tony, I mean, listen, his performances haven't been brilliant. I mean, you mentioned it through the match. And I said, you can only perform with service. And we hadn't got bodies in the box today for whatever reason. Better in the second half, but not in the first. And you are reliant, being a striker, the same as a goalkeeper. I keep saying it. You're reliant on your defenders to help you. A striker's reliant on service from the lads around him. And I just don't think he gets the right service a lot of the time. And you get frustrated. You start moving around the park yourself to try and get involved in the game because you just become dormant. And unfortunately, when you're static, how many times do we knock players that aren't moving around, that are too static, not involved in the game? We're talking about Willock. We've talked, a number of players that just aren't involved in the game a lot of the time. So I really do think, for me, I mean, I'm not saying he's been brilliant since his groin strain. He's certainly not running on full speed ahead yet. But I don't know whether he's doing it on purpose. I mean, I think that's probably going a little bit too far. Because, like I say, he's only doing himself a disjustice. At the end of the day, he's still contracted to Newcastle. And even if he means, Newcastle sit him on the bench for 12 months, you know what I mean? If they bring somebody else in, they're in control.
There's way too much made of Isak.
The bottom line, listen, the bottom line is, unless Chelsea score another 2, we are sitting in 4th place, regardless of what Forest do at Palace.
Yeah.
Because they can, then that would be, I mean, it gets interesting, obviously, because
Forest win, it gets really interesting.
3 teams on 4th, 5th and 6th, all on 63 points.
Yeah. It's going to go mental. And we've got 2 tough games.
But we're way ahead of Forest on goal difference. That's the thing. So then we've all got 3 games left. Newcastle have got 3 left. 2 at home. 1 against Arsenal away, who have beaten 3 times this season. They may very well not have any Champions League distraction by then, depending on what happens in Paris. But if you're asking me, would I have settled for that at the start of the season? A trophy and
of course,
and top 5 Champions
all
League
day long,
position
isn't it?
with 3 games to go, 2 at home, Arsenal away. Damn right I would.
Yeah. And like I say, it's really interesting now because the relegation's done. The winners are done. The only thing that people are watching now is this little battle, mini battle.
The Champions League.
Yeah. It's a really close run thing. Peter, thank you ever so much. Thank you to Lewis for coming on. And thank you again, my mate.
Thanks, Andy, for trying, mate.
Yeah, Andy, bless him, who couldn't get any sound, as always. I don't know what happens with Andy's phones. But bless him, he's been in the chat. And again, thank you to everybody that's been in the chat, that's contributed. As always, really lovely to hear your thoughts and your opinions, because that's what it's all about. This is your show to have your say. Zeebrugger saying, how out?
Gotta be sarcastic, really.
Disgraceful performance. Well, I wouldn't say it was brilliant. I would say it was disgraceful. We've come away.
It's any away point in the Premier League is a good point.
Tony says, bring back Longstaff. Bring back Longy.
Yeah, I know. Well, I think we've seen Lungy's last days, mate, to be fair. And I think it showed how important
to be
it
clear,
was
that's
today.
my brother's opinion, not mine.
I think at the end of the day, you can see his days are gone, haven't they? You know, when you could have brought him on today to give us some fresh legs in the middle, days gone by, it would have happened.
Yeah,
Doesn't happen very often now.
I think Eddie let the cat out of the bag in his presser on Friday, didn't he? When asked about Longy, for the first time ever, said his long-term future is up to him.
Yeah, absolutely.
Leeds want him apparently, so
yeah.
Leeds and Everton want him.
Yeah, like I say, Leeds and Everton.
And he's a proper Moyes player, by the way.
Yeah. Well, let's see what happens. Well, that's it. Thank you all thanks for everybody being involved. Thanks again for watching. Don't forget, though, please, before you go, just give us a thumbs up. Subscribe if you haven't already. Help us get to the 5,000 mark. And we'll see you on the next one.
What we on now, incidentally? Let's have a.
What do you mean? What we on now?
Subs, because I think
4-7, I think.
No, we're 4-9 now.
Are we? Have we got? I see.
Let's see if can we get up to 5,000.
That'd be very nice if you can.
Let's have a look here.
I didn't think we'd reach that the glory heights again.
Yeah, 4.92.
Is it? Wow. Excellent. Well, thank you all that have given us.
Come on, man. We're just 80 away from 5,000. Spread the word. Tell your pals. Yeah. Let's hit that 5,000. We'll have a celebration.
We'll have
a celebration raffle. There you go. I'll find a prize.
Yeah, you can give him Andy's book. Oh, bless you. Thanks everybody for watching. Like I say, thank you again for all your support. Like I say, keep giving us the thumbs up and hit the likes, share the word. We'll see you on the next one.
Listen, God's on our side. That sun is shining through my window now.
Look at that.
Nice one.
He's going to be the new Pope. See you later, everybody. Take care.
How are the lads?
Lassies and Bairns. Oh, how did the lassies do today? Does anybody know?
Does anybody care?
What do you mean?
We'll not tell you, I'm sure.
They were on telly.
No, you said Win will tell you.
Oh, right. I thought you said... Because I know the girls were playing today, weren't they? No, let's have a look at the results. If I can find it. Results. Because it's the last game of the season. Oh, they beat Blackburn. 5-1. Well done. There you go. And I think that gets them up into the top 3, doesn't it? No, top 5. Finish 5th. Well done, girls. Superb. Great performance. Anyway, take care.